All right, question of the day. Why is Cerakote work so damn expensive? I mean, you can sit at home with some fingernail polish and you can color fill your logos if you like. You can get a few cans of spray paint and you can do a rattle can camo job. So why would you spend hundreds of dollars having somebody else Cerakote your gun for you? First off, stop color filling your guns. It looks like shit, and your wife is probably wondering what in the hell is happening to all of her fingernail polish. Second, spray paint does not last. And if you spray paint your gun and later on you take it to a professional Cerakoter to go ahead and fix your spray paint job, they're probably going to charge you a hell of a lot more just to get that spray paint off in the first place. In order to Cerakote your AR or any other gun for that matter, the gun has to be fully disassembled. Now I'm not talking field stripped. I'm talking down to every pin and every spring taken apart. So there's a couple reasons your rattle can paint job is not going to last on your firearm. First off, spray paint's not durable. It's not really meant to do the job that you're trying to make it do. Second, all of the oils that are on your gun are going to leach out and prevent the spray paint from actually adhering to the metal. Third, without sandblasting it, the spray paint actually doesn't have anything to grab a hold of and stick to. How good the end result looks and how long it lasts, that is always going to boil down to one thing and one thing only, and that's the prep work that goes into getting it ready before it's painted or Cerakoted or Duracoated or whatever the case may be. In order for your custom finish to last, that gun's going to be taken apart. All those parts are going to be scrubbed down to get any oil or loose gunpowder residue off. Then they're going to go into an acetone bath. Once they come out of the acetone bath, they're going to go into a curing oven for a little bit, basically to help evaporate any leftover acetone and bring any oils up to the surface. Next, they're going to go back into that same acetone bath. Once they come out, again in the curing oven, just to make sure everything's flashed off. Now at this point, as long as I'm not seeing any more oil coming to the surface, then we're good to go. We're ready to let them cool down completely, head to the sandblasting cabinet and blast all the parts so that we can get ready to spray. Of course, before you spray the parts, you have to hang them properly, blow them all off, make sure there's no sand particles left in any nooks or crannies, because those will show in the final product. Now today I've got a battle-worn tattered flag AR that I'm working on. Each layer of this job is going to be sprayed on, then it's going to go in the oven for 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, just to flash cure it before it comes out, cools down all the way, gets stenciled, goes back in to be sprayed again, back in the oven for another 8 to 10 minutes, back out to cool down all the way. It's quite a process. Okay, so we've got our base layer of white on our upper receiver, lower receiver, and handguard. Now it's time to get to stenciling. Each one of these star stencils has to be put on individually. It's a slow process. We're covering up the white so that we can spray blue over the top. Peel the stencils off afterwards, revealing the white stars. Alright, so that's got to be repeated all the way around the handguard. Got to make sure that all of the stars are evenly spaced and it all looks right. Alright, so here is the finished product. There's not a lot of room to work when it comes to handguards for AR pistols. We're actually doing 2 of these today. So I've got a rifle handguard here as well. Now you got to make sure that your spacing is nice and even so that you've got a good spread of stars on there. Otherwise, by the time you're done, it's going to look weird. So now we can move on to the stripes for the upper and lower receiver. I've got that all ready to go. All right, so when it comes to stripes, it's best to do them with the upper and lower receiver put together, so that you can go ahead and cut the seam and have everything line up the way that it's supposed to. So the thing that takes the longest when it comes to doing a job like this is making sure that your stripes line up on all of your parts, so that you can go ahead and spray some red over the top, cure it, pull it out, pull these stencils off, and reveal the white. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and lay the next stripe down, which is gonna go partially over the seam between the upper and lower receivers. All right, again, so we've got our second stripe laid down. The space in between is going to be filled with red, and because of the edges on these stencils, it'll give it that worn look in between for the red stripe. It is very important to put these two pieces together and lay your stripe down in order to cut the seam between the two pieces. Otherwise, it's not going to line up and look right. All right, so we're back. We've got the red and blue sprayed. Next step is to pull every last one of those stencils off. When we peel the stencils off, what's left are our white stars. So we're going to do the same thing on all these red pieces here. And you're left with something like this. All right, now I would love to say that we are done and we can start putting this bad boy together, but we aren't. We actually aren't even close. On to the next step. All right, so we got our battle-worn coat over the top. We are actually pretty damn far away from being done with this project. We got to come through with some Scotch-Brite and just start cleaning it up. I'm going to go through and take out as much of the black as you can. There's really no wrong way or right way to do this. That's what I love about a battle-worn coat is, you know, you can't mess it up. As long as you don't go all the way down through all your layers of Cerakote. As you go, you're going to start to reveal your actual pattern underneath. You know, just get artistic with it. Spend as much time as you need to revealing the color underneath. Personalize it, make it you. We're going to do the same thing with the handguard. We'll just do a quick little demonstration here. All right, so that's just a quick preview. I'm going to go ahead and finish doing the upper receiver, the lower receiver, and all the other parts that I have set up, and I'll be back to show you a little bit more. So now that we've removed most of that black, this is what we're left with. And as much as it looks like it's done, it's really not. We still got to take it out there, and we got to put a layer of clear over it to just give it a little bit more protection, bring some of the luster back to the color. So because I've got a mixture of plastic and metal parts, I had to do the final cure on them at a lower temperature for 2 hours. Now that that's done, they're cooling down, and I'm going to take the Air Cure Cerakote Clear, hose them down with that really well. That stuff takes 5 days to cure fully. So they're going to sit hanging up for the next 5 days. Once they're done, I'll go ahead and do the final reassembly, lube everything, function test everything, and make sure that the gun's working properly. It's a process. It is a long and labor-intensive process. Now there are some corners that some people cut. I don't necessarily agree with cutting corners when it comes to this stuff, because it's going to come out in the end look of the finish and the longevity. That's the big one. You don't want to spend a couple $100s on coating your gun and then not have it last. So when you call up your local Cerakote applicator and you ask for a price quote, just remember the time that goes into doing these jobs. Not just the time that it takes to do the job itself, but the actual time that it takes to build the skills to be able to do the job and do it proficiently. In the end, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that person's personal time, and you're paying for the time that it's taken for them to build the skills necessary to make your gun badass.